supposed to be a young Chris Rock asking his parents to give him an allowance on the Emmy Award-winning TV series Everybody Hates Chris. So definitely a complicated issue, and here to help us sort through the do's and don'ts of allowances, we're joined by Ting, Certified Financial Advisor. Thanks for coming in today. It's a thorny issue, allowances. You know, a lot of parents, we discuss them amongst ourselves and with our kids, of course, but not so much publicly, the do's and don'ts of whether or not to give kids money weekly or monthly. Mm-hmm. You are in the camp, you do give your two kids allowances. Yes. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, it's basically a great tool. It's money management. I want them to grow up learning about money now, make their mistakes today, as opposed to when they're older and the stakes are so much higher. And after that, if they make mistakes there, then it takes a lot more for them to recover from that. They make the mistakes today, not a big deal. They recover, they learn, and they become better managers going forward.
At what age do you think it's appropriate to start teaching your kids some of these money lessons?
Yes, it really depends on your kids. Some will be more mature than others. Earlier, the better. That's the way I figured. I did this about 6 months ago. My kids were about 7 and 8, and that seems to be a good time. They understand money. They understand that not everything is free. There's a cost to absolutely everything. So I wanted to give them more responsibility. And at the beginning, it kind of worked out. But the mistake that I made was I kept on buying them things. So all I did was give them discretionary money, which they would just blow any which way they wanted without really feeling any of the repercussions.
Well, I think that's what a lot of parents grapple with is, should allowances be tied to rewards? Should you be rewarded for chores, for instance? If you fold the laundry, you get $1. If you take out the garbage, etc. Or should it just be something that kids get as part of learning money management?
So definitely it should not be part of chores. So it is a tool that is made, they are supposed to use this to learn. So when I sat down with my kids, I told them, okay, you're going to get $5 a week. This is your money. You spend it the way you want. Mom and dad will not get involved with this.
Were you able to stick with that?
I did. But again, the problem was I kept on paying for things. So I realized that I had to modify my own behavior where I stopped paying for things. So once they got the allowance, now when they wanted treats, when they went to the movies, they maybe had to buy their own tickets. When they went to their friends' birthday parties, I made them pay for those presents. So they realized sometimes they would miss out. They really wanted to go watch a movie, but they ran out of allowance. So they learned the lessons there.
So how did you decide this is a necessity and this is a treat? It's sometimes a gray area.
Well, the way I thought about it is like, if I was at the beach and it's hot, I'm there with my families and I want an ice cream, I'm going to go and get an ice cream. And I'm not just going to eat this ice cream and look at my kids and say, hey, you can't have any because you don't have any allowance. I'm not going to be that guy. So I'm going to buy it.
If it's something you were going to do anyway, then you pay for it.
I'd do it. Yeah, but if I went to the movies, for example, and I brought my kids and let's say I paid for it because it's a movie I wanted to see, but they wanted a Coke or they wanted some popcorn. Now, I wasn't going to pay for that. I refused to pay for that. But if they had their allowance, again, mom and dad had no say in how they can spend their money. They can go out and go to the concession stand and spend it any way they wanted.
And do you have a discussion with the kids publicly about why you're not paying for that popcorn? Because I imagine, say you go with another family and their parents are paying for their kids' popcorn at the movie. You look like an awfully bad dad if you're not coughing up too.
That's right. And there is a peer pressure with parents. So if someone else's parents are buying their children's popcorn, obviously no judgment here whatsoever. That's their decision. I explain to the kids why this is, and they know. Every time we do the allowance, we say this is an extra, popcorn will be an extra, we talk about before we go. And from the parents' perspective, if they're there sort of feeling kind of awkward because they're buying their own kids and they might want to buy my kids, I'll mention it as well. Like, oh yeah, Tyler and Maya, they have an allowance now, and we use this allowance, and unfortunately, they spent their allowance already, so they're going to have to forego the popcorn. And that sort of gives the other parents, they gives them some context, they understand why they don't think I'm just a cheap dad, and they also feel, okay, I can opt out. I don't feel obligated to buy your children popcorn.
Some great lessons and things that all of us as parents can deal with. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.